I thought there was a secret formula, that the top 1% richest people got there by luck, inheritance, or access I'd never have. But once I really started paying attention to what women in that group actually do, I realized something brutally simple. It's behavior. Habits. Mindset. No miracles. No ready-made formulas. What these women do, I could do too, with what I already had. So I did. I adopted the 10 most frequent, most powerful, most consistent habits among them, and my reality started to change, inside and out. In this video, I'll tell you in first person what these habits were and how you can apply them now, without needing luck, fame, or permission. Like now, subscribe to the channel because what's coming next might be exactly what you needed to stop waiting and start building. 1. I began to think in decades and act in days. The first habit that changed how I operate was stopping to think only in months. I was always stuck on end of month, this week's revenue, how to pay this bill. It was a survival mindset, not a builder's mindset. But 1% women think in decades. They know where they want to be at 40, 50, even 70. And every day they make small decisions with that future in mind. I decided to do the same. I wrote down my long-term vision. I set yearly goals and broke them into monthly targets. And I started acting like someone building a legacy, not putting out fires. It was uncomfortable, saying no to quick wins, holding back the urge for immediate validation. But that's where things started to shift. Because those who think big act differently, and those who act differently build what others only wish for. Today, every day is a step towards something far bigger than this month, and that gives meaning to the process. Are you still just trying to survive the month? Or have you realized that wealth requires long-term vision with daily action? Comment here, I act with decades vision, if this habit needs to enter your next cycle. 2. I treated my money like part of the team, not a visitor. For a long time, money simply entered and left my account with little awareness. I saw it as something that showed up when things went well and disappeared with expenses. But 1% women treat money as part of the team. As an active player, they give it a role, direction, strategy. I began to do the same. I created a weekly routine to review every cent. I allocated money to reinvest, not just spend. I named what had been just expenses, infrastructure, growth, reserves, freedom. This habit gave me power. Because the more clearly I related to money, the more it grew. Not because more came in, but because it started being treated as a resource, not a gift. Today, my money has a place, a task, a plan. And that pulled me out of the chaos cycle and put me in the driver's seat. Are you treating money as an ally? Or is it still something that comes and goes without a conversation? Comment, my money works with me, not against me. If this made you rethink how you handle your income. 3. I stopped saying yes to tasks that just filled my time, and began prioritizing what truly builds. I always had an endless to-do list. And by day's end, I felt like I'd done a lot, but made little progress. Until I noticed something crucial. 1% women do fewer things, but with much greater impact. They don't confuse being busy with moving forward. And once I understood that, I changed everything. I eliminated tasks that just filled my schedule. I prioritized actions that deliver direct or structural results. I delegated what no longer needed my attention. And most importantly, I created deep focus blocks where I do only what truly moves my construction forward. This habit seems simple but totally upended my productivity. Because when you cut out the noise, what's left is focus. And focus builds wealth. Today my day has breathing space. Because my filter is clear. Does this move my build? If not, it goes. Are you busy or are you progressing? Comment here. I focus on what builds, not what distracts. If this habit needs to organize your agenda now. 4. I spoke with firmness, even when my voice still trembled. One of the most visible habits among 1% women is how they speak. It's not about tone or volume. It's about firmness. They don't ask permission to take a stand. They speak with clarity, direction, authority. And I knew this was one of my biggest blocks. So I started training my communication as an essential skill. I wrote down what I wanted to say before meetings. I practiced my presentation like it was a performance. I cut out words that weakened my speech. I think, maybe, sort of. At first my voice shook, but I spoke anyway. And over time, my posture caught up with my voice. Today, my voice communicates who I am, what I know, and where I'm going. Because competence alone doesn't matter if your communication doesn't carry your strength. Are you waiting to feel confident to speak up? Or have you realized that firmness comes from practice, not chance? Comment, I train my voice as a tool of power. If this habit reminded you that authority starts with language, Beater 5. I treated my image as part of my build, not as vanity. For a long time, I thought taking care of my image was superficial, that what really mattered was the work, the results, the substance. But watching 1% women, I realized they manage their image not out of vanity, but for alignment. The way they dress, carry themselves, enter a room, it all communicates before a single word is spoken. And it's not about brand, it's about intention. I adopted this habit without exaggeration, but with strategy. I reviewed my wardrobe to reflect the woman I'm building. I adjusted my style to convey authority naturally. I took care of my expression, my posture, my gaze. And what happened was striking. My own self-perception changed. And along with it, how others saw and treated me. Today, I see my image as the business card of the woman I'm becoming, and I let it speak for me before I even say a word. Are you dressing like your current self, or like the version you're building? Comment here. My image represents my vision. If this habit made you rethink how you're showing up. 6. I started talking about money like it was normal, because it is. For years, talking about money made me uncomfortable. I thought it was tacky, intrusive. When I earned well, I downplayed it. When I charged, I over-explained. It was like I felt ashamed of what I was trying to achieve. But then I noticed 1% women talk about money naturally, because it's part of the equation. Not taboo, just data. I started practicing this daily. I spoke about my rates with confidence. I discussed goals without shame. I shared financial insights casually. And that changed my relationship with money, and how money started responding to me. Today, I talk about value, results, and financial planning like I talk about any other relevant topic. Because I realized, if you can't name it, you can't multiply it. Do you still feel uncomfortable talking about money? Or have you realized it's part of your growth language? Comment. I talk about money with normalcy and vision if this habit could free your relationship with your financial goals. 7. I learned to protect my energy like someone guarding an empire. There was a time when I felt drained. By people, by tasks, by emotional demands that weren't even mine. I said yes to everything and everyone. And by day's end, there was barely anything left of me for me. But one thing all the 1% women I observed had in common. They're selective about what enters their energetic space. They say no with ease. They set boundaries naturally. And they don't over-explain. Because they know energy is a resource. And scarce resources need strategy. I adopted this immediately. I cut off draining conversations. I set rules for social media. I dropped the guilt when declining things outside my focus. At first it felt rude, but I quickly realized, the more I protected my energy, the more my vision progressed. Today, I guard my peace with the same care I guard my goals, because I know that without internal clarity, no external plan holds up. Are you giving your energy to just anything? Or have you realized protecting your emotions is protecting your growth? Comment. My energy is a strategic priority if this habit needs to enter your next cycle. 8. I turned discipline into identity, not effort. At first, discipline felt like punishment. Heavy. Hard. I saw it as sacrifice, until I noticed something. 1% women don't treat discipline like a burden. They treat it as part of who they are. They don't negotiate with goals. They don't postpone what needs doing. They don't rely on motivation. They just do it. Consistently. Precisely. I decided I wanted that too. I created fixed schedules for execution, even without motivation. I automated decisions to save mental energy. I made my routine predictable, and therefore scalable. Over time, what once felt hard became natural. Discipline became identity. Not a one-time push, but something that defines how I operate. Today, I do what needs to be done not because I'm excited, but because this is who I am. A woman who follows through. Who delivers. Who builds. Are you still trying to get motivated? Or have you decided to act even without the mood? Comment. My discipline defines me. If this habit could be the turning point for your consistency. That I simplified my plan until it fit my real life, and then executed relentlessly. For a long time, my plans were grand, complex, beautiful on paper, and totally unworkable. I dreamed up massive frameworks, corporate-level strategies, and ended up frustrated because I couldn't keep up. It was only by watching 1% women that I realized they simplify ruthlessly, because those who want results don't love complexity. They love execution. So I trimmed the fat. I picked one single product to scale, focused on one communication strategy, repeated the same process for weeks, tweaking as I went. And the most amazing part? I started seeing results. Because the simpler the plan, the faster the execution. And more execution means more data, more clarity, more growth. Today, my mantra is, what can I do with what I have, today, with rhythm and direction? If the answer is clear, then it's enough. Are you still waiting to have everything to get started? Or have you realized simplicity is the secret to speed? Comment. My plan is simple but powerful, if this freed you to take action with what you already have. 10. I backed my decisions like someone who's already arrived. This wasn't the easiest habit, but it was definitely the most transformative. For a long time, I'd make decisions and then doubt them. I'd act and then retreat. I'd take a stand and then apologize. It was like I was constantly waiting for approval, a green light, outside validation. Until one day I got it. 1% women stand by their choices, even alone, even in silence, even when no one gets it yet. They don't wait for consensus. They don't apologize for growing. They don't slow down just because someone else got uncomfortable. And I wanted to live that way too. I started deciding quickly based on my vision. I kept commitments even when things got shaky externally. I learned to handle the discomfort of people seeing me change without shrinking because of it. Today, every step I take carries presence. And when I mess up, I adjust without drama. Because it's not about always being right. It's about moving forward with strength toward what you've chosen to build. Are you living to please or to build? Comment. I back who I'm becoming. If this final habit reminded you that growth demands a firm spine. When I really looked at these women, I realized what they do is within reach. It doesn't require inheritance, a fancy title, or a perfect setup. It requires choice. And that's what I made. I chose to change my habits. One by one. Not all at once. Not without stumbling. But with daily commitment to the woman I knew I could be. If you apply these habits for real, not as a checklist, but as a mindset, 2025 could be the year you move from almost to the 1% that builds with intention. Now comment. My habits are shaping my next version. If this script spoke to your truth. And if this video hit home, like it now, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a woman who's ready to grow. No magic formulas, just posture, habit, and decision. Because nobody transforms overnight, but everyone starts on just one day. And maybe for you, that day is today.